Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Janelle Slade.
And I'm Russ Riesinger. Controversy in one North Dakota county as it considers becoming the first in the nation to ban any further refugees.
Burleigh County, home to North Dakota's capital, Bismarck, would be the first local government to bar any further refugee settlement since President Trump allowed governments to make that decision back in October.
In fact, so many people turned out to voice opinions on the matter. Tonight's meeting was actually a continuation of a meeting from last week where so many people showed up, the commission ran out of space.
After several hours of discussion about the impact of settling additional refugees in the county, including local economy and public health services, commissioners narrowly passed a measure that will still allow refugees in the county, but limits the number to 25 for the year 2020.
Lutheran Social Services of North Dakota says only 24 refugees came to Bismarck in 2019, only 2 more than in 2018, while more than 100 came into the whole state. Republican Governor Doug Burgum says the state will continue to allow refugees or accept refugees, but only in areas where local jurisdictions agreed.
I just don't think that we should have a group of people on behalf of the government coming in and telling us what we're going to do. Because if something goes wrong, it's going to affect everybody, including the refugees, the settlers here now.
This country, as great as it is, has absorbed refugees and immigrants for several hundred years. And if we no longer believe we can do that, then let's take a grinder to the Statue of Liberty and take them words off the base, because they don't mean anything anymore.
The Trump administration announced only 18,000 refugees would be allowed to settle in the U.S. in the next year, which would be an historic low and down from the 30,000 allowed in 2019.
Resettling refugees in states has long been a sensitive issue. In 2015, at the height of the Syrian refugee crisis, more than half the nation's governors said they opposed letting Syrian refugees settle in their states.
Well, a plan for Billings to spend $423 million over the next 5 years on a slew of city improvements was pushed off to next week.
The capital improvement plan decision got hung up with the Parks Department, with some council members wanting more information about new money coming in.
Q2's Mitch Laggy has been monitoring the city council tonight and joins us now with the latest. Mitch.
Russ and Janelle, council members tonight approved the capital improvement plan for Billings with a caveat. The Park District 1 section of the plan was removed, so council members can hear more information at their meeting next week. Park District 1 requested 3 increases in its budget. The increases would raise Park District 1's budget from $2 million per year to $3.7 million per year at the end of 5 years. One of the 3 increases that divided the council is spending $400,000 to essentially catch up Park District 1. The district hasn't been reassessed for tax collection purposes since 2012. The unchanged total amount of money in the district means that it has lost purchasing power due to inflation. This money would catch up the district to more accurately reflect its worth, and the council will make a decision on the Parks District at its meeting next Monday. And to be clear, the capital improvement plan is only a statement of intention for the city to spend its money. Individual projects still have to be approved and added to the city's 2021 budget. Russ and Janelle.
Thanks so much, Mitch.
All right, turning to weather, Bob, parts of the viewing area still under a winter storm advisory.
It's a little Alberta clipper. Came down from Alberta and continued to push into Montana. And out tonight, let me show you where it's at. It's down there in southern Bighorn County. You can see it followed the jet stream right on into it. Now, this thing's just kind of sidestepped the Billings area. We're getting pretty good when we can tell these storms how to sidestep us. And that's what it did tonight. Anyway, we'll zoom in and show you that. And we still have until tomorrow morning the chance for some maybe 2 to 5 inches of snow and also some blowing and drifting snow. That's going to be an issue tonight as that whole system moves through there. Meanwhile, you can see it's a cold front that's pushing through just right to the east of the Billings area. That cold front will continue to drive a little bit farther to the east later on tonight and tomorrow. And then this thing becomes a stationary front, and the stationary front will kind of oscillate back and forth. So you'll see warmer temperatures in the daytime, cooler temperatures at night. And here in the Billings area, we might see about maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks so much, Bob. Well, city crews continued today to remove an unstable piece of the rim rocks left after boulders fell and demolished a Billings home in September. Now, the final chunk of rock, dubbed the East Block, came down from the rims this afternoon. The city says this step makes the area below safe for crews to clean up and remove boulders that fell to the street. The East Block was a little stubborn at first. Workers had to drill extra holes into the stone to weaken its hold. City engineers hope work can start as early as Wednesday to break up and remove the boulders that still litter. Laredo Place.
The State Public Service Commission heard comments today on Northwestern Energy's plan to provide electric power for its Montana customers over the next 20 years. But before the PSC session, renewable power advocates rallied outside the building in Helena, saying that Northwestern's plan has some big holes. Northwestern says it needs to build or acquire 800 megawatts of power in the next several years to serve its Montana customers, twice the amount of power it owns now. Protesters at today's rally said the plan should include more wind, solar, or other renewable power, which is both cleaner and cheaper. They also question why the plan includes coal-fired power from Colstrip, when the Colstrip plants could shut down during the 20-year period. Critics say Northwestern is not revealing the detailed numbers or analysis that led to rely on coal or gas-fired power, and that the company is resisting independently developed projects that could provide lower cost and reliable power.
Regulated monopoly, it is guaranteed a reasonable profit, and it doesn't need to own everything in order to make a profit. But Northwestern Energy wants to make even bigger profits by owning everything, even if it's more expensive, and having the ratepayers foot the bill.
Northwestern Energy has this proprietary modeling that they're doing that seems to always reach the same conclusion, that they have to move toward fossil fuels. Let's have some transparency about how we spend $1 billion.
The PSC can only comment on Northwestern's plan, but it will decide whether to approve any individual power projects or contracts put forth by the company in the future.
Well, now the Montana Lottery opened license applications for sports betting this past weekend. The first requests are expected in the next couple weeks. Now, the legislature approved sports betting in May. The Montana Lottery Commission finalized rules in November. Now, the rules only allow sports betting at businesses with gambling operator licenses like taverns and casinos. Currently, around 1,400 businesses across the state qualify. Now, once operational, players will be able to create sports betting accounts, but they will only be able to place bets in person at a licensed business through a terminal or a connected mobile device. Now, there's no firm start date yet for sports betting here in Montana.
Well, in Helena, the Capitol Rotunda is now adorned with a wreath, thanks to wreaths across America. Each year, chapters of the Daughters of the American Revolution travel around Montana, placing Christmas wreaths filled with military flags. The nonprofit organization's goal is to preserve history and patriotism.
We stand in front of this wreath that has the flags for each branch of the military in recognition of their service and the sacrifices that they made and that their families have made over the generations and that they continue to make today.
And here in Billings, the Billings Young Marines will assist at the Yellowstone National Cemetery this Saturday to lay wreaths.
Coming up on tonight's 10 o'clock news, breaking news out of the House impeachment hearings. We'll have those details next.
Plus, Santa helped Christmas come early in the Flathead. Find out how.
And later in sports, we've reached the halfway point at the National Finals Rodeo. We'll see which Montanans are still in the world title hunt.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.